As we had expanded the rehabilitation services and had social workers, mobility instructors, and rehab teachers, we found more and more people, after they were receiving their rehabilitation, yes, I'd be interested in work if you have a job for me. And that's where the expansion, why we started to expand even more, because we were getting more requests of people wanting to work. So one of the things that we looked for, again, in another building was when we bought that building from the city of Utica, the Beech Grove building. And we got the city to forgive the taxes, we got the county to forgive the taxes, and we took that building over. And I think we paid, it was 14,000, almost 15,000 square feet, the building. And we paid $115,000, and then we put $120,000 into it. But after that, we were continuing to expand, and we needed an addition, right? So we added on to that building, and let's see, that it was a Butler building we put on in 1998. And that was another 12,600 square feet, and that cost us $483,000. And Luca kept bringing in more work and more contracts, so we put on another addition, another Butler building, and that was in 2002, and that was 17,600 square feet. Yeah. And that cost us almost $800,000. So what we ended up with was a building that was 45,000 square feet and being used to capacity today.
Yeah. Well, the first building at Beech Grove there, we put a lot of money into it because the ceilings were too low. You see, we had to stack these gloves. We had to stack product.
Right.
And you couldn't stack. I mean, you could put one pallet on the floor, but you couldn't put anything on top of it. Well, we need space up. You can't go out. You got to go up. So part of the contract was right, Chuck? They had to tear down all of the electrical. They had a lot of electrical because it was a computer place, and we said we don't need all of that electrical work. So remember that, Chuck? They did that. They raised the ceiling, and we were able to stack 2. Well, 2 wasn't enough. Then we're capable. We have the machines to stack 3. Well, you can't stack 3 in that building. And that's when we added on to the other building, because we needed, the glove business kept growing, and we needed more storage space. So we built the other building, and now we could stack 3 pallets high, and we filled it right up. Right, Chuck?
And what's the name of that building? Steve knows that. The Kennett Seat there, manufacturing building, named after Ken. And but Charlie, remember when we got that building, the negotiations with the city, and also there was a business across the street that wanted some of the parking lot, and so we exchanged lots, and you got them to build a street.
Yeah, I donated the land.
You donated part of the land that was on Charlestown, and then we got the city to build a street.
Yeah. But what all this boils down to, all the work we were doing in Central Industries and everything else brought in money which enabled us to serve blind people in 8 counties.
It subsidized our rehab services, no question about it, and it still does.
We could have never done it without it.
Right. And getting back to once that Beech Grove building was up and running and we had all these additions in space, we did get rid of the building that was donated to us by Gene Romano after 3 years. And we sold it, the building. And we sold it to a company, Fleahands, I believe it was.
Fleahands, yeah. I remember that.
And so we made a few $100,000 on that building, and we didn't really need it. It served us well while we had it at the time, but now we didn't need it. So as we expanded our services, more and more requests were coming in, people were asking for jobs. And so we were putting more and more people to work.
Well, the staff and the commission, I mean, one of their main objectives was to find work for people who wanted to work. And, there just were a lot of people out there, blind people, legally blind people, totally blind people, who wanted to work, who had heard about our place. And it wasn't quite that easy as I make it sound, because we had a few gentlemen who went blind later in life, and they got told that they couldn't work. One of them was Bob Heath. He worked for Remington Arms, I guess it was.
Yeah.
He was a supervisor, and he lost his vision. And they said, we can't use you anymore. So one of our rehab people here was providing services, and so brought him in here, And he says, I don't want to work, here with blind people. He was kind of like a little indignant to think that he was being put into some kind of a sheltered environment. Well, talking to him and showing him around, he realized this is not just a sheltered environment. This is a real workplace. And so he came to work.
Right.
And other people, I noticed in Mike
Bob
Blake.
Knapp.
Bob Knapp.
Yeah.
Bob Knapp used to drive a tractor trailer across the country. Remember that?
He became the National Blind Worker of the Year. And we were out in Seattle, Washington. I think Bob Payne was with me. You were with me. And Bill Russell made the presentation to him, the basketball player.
Yeah.
And he was the National Blind Worker of the Year.
One of the things I'm really proudest, one of my proudest things that I think I had a lot to do with, there was a gentleman, John Crowder, and he was a very bright, intelligent man. And my wife had him in school, and she said, there's somebody that just graduated from high school, and he's like having a lot of problems with life. He's very intelligent, and he's not accepting his blindness. And this is where the rehab people came and did their job very well. They convinced him that there are ways for him to survive in a world of blindness, so to speak. So he comes in to me here, and I said, John, the only job I have right now is on a sewing machine. And he says, oh, I'll give it a try. And he came to work, and he kind of lifted his spirits up. He no longer was as depressed as he used to be, and I was so happy for him. Well, long story short, he was so bright. Jim Marsher, manager in rehab, took him under his wing, so to speak, and they found him a job at the air base with computers. He was so bright with computers. And he was hired at the air base as a computer operator.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a story